There's going to be a video on how to not weld wheels and how to weld wheels. So this one has been repaired, what looks like 1,000 times. And if you're ever welding a wheel, this is what's going to end up looking like. They're going to bring it and it's going to have all kinds of silicone on it because they're trying to get it to stop, or JB Weld's a big one. But as you can see, this one, it's cracked down into here. I don't know how far back it goes yet, so we're going to have to chase that one and figure out. But this one, you can see, I mean, they just made a bunch of passes on it and probably didn't drill it out or cut it or anything like that, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how I do these. So we got the crack here. I got another wheel down there. So he's got 3, they're all drift spares or whatever. But what I'm gonna do is find the end of this crack, and then I'm gonna drill a hole down through the end of it to give the crack somewhere to terminate at. So we're gonna go ahead and knock that out real quick and drill that hole. All right, now that we got this little hole at the end, this crack is terminated. So if you were to just weld over it like they did here, the reason it keeps cracking is because they're just covering the crack. They're making it not leak. They're not fixing the crack. They're just covering it up so it doesn't leak. So now you can see how thick this stuff is. It's pretty thick. I mean, I can pull a measurement on it real quick. It's let's see. I mean, it's about a 1/2 inch thick. So most people aren't going to have a welder that can weld a 1/2 inch thick aluminum, like guarantee it, unless you're rich. So most people aren't going to have that. I clearly do not have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cutoff wheel. I'm going to cut down through this crack and open it up a little bit. And then I'll show you why. All right, so now here's what we got. You can kind of see it's got a big gap in there. It's kind of beveled. I mean, I just went over it with the flap disc to clean all the paint off. But I mean, you can kind of see it's a little bit beveled in there. Now, when we weld this, we're gonna start, I always start on the inside and work my way out. So I'm gonna fill this hole and then work my way around it and then come around this way and then back and then through. So, and if you know anything about welding aluminum, I mean, I guess if you're gonna attempt this yourself, you know it's got to be pretty clean. So I mean, you can see there's still a little bit of paint left. I'll hit it with some acetone and clean all the paint out, but you want to hit it with a flap disc to get like the majority of the paint off. So here's our first pass. It might look kind of ugly, but it's because it's cast aluminum. It's just always gonna look ugly. You can see, I mean, we're penetrating in there. Focus down there. You can see it's kind of penetrating down through there pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run a bead and it's gonna go, I'm gonna go do a dab here, do a dab here, do a dab here, do a dab here, and then just kind of work my way crisscrossing up or whatever. And then after I do that, I'm just gonna go over it with heat and sink it down in there real flat, because like right now it's got a pretty big bump on it. You can kind of see it's got a pretty big bump, so we want to try to get as flat as we can because we're gonna have to grind it down anyway, so it'll just help us in the long run. So here's what we have now that we've got everything down. I mean, you can see there's still like a little bit of a bump there, but we're not worried about that because all that's gonna get grinded down. So we're worried about the penetration. Now this corner is gonna be the thickest part of the wheel, so you're not gonna be able to penetrate all the way through there. But you can see how it's starting to come over there. So when we start welding this bottom side, it's gonna go through and it's gonna heat that aluminum up that you see in there, and then it's gonna connect all the way through. And that's what we want. So now we're gonna flip the wheel over and do the same thing we did up here, but on the other side. This is what we got on this side. It's all nice and welded up. And now all we gotta do is go over there and grind everything flat on the inside. just like that. The inside's like nothing ever happened. And then the outside, you'll see the weld. And the reason I don't grind the outside out, like you probably get away with it, but the more material that's on there, the better. So I just always leave the outside out, but then the inside, you just want to get as close to like stock as you can. Like I can rub my finger around here, it's all pretty smooth. So, cause you want that tire to be able to bead up on, or this is the bead for the tire. You want it to sit up on there flush with the outside or whatever. So you want it to be nice and straight down through there. I mean, as you can see, it's not bad. It'll work for drift spares, so. Yep, that is how I do wheels. Nothing to hide here. And they will for sure hold better than this. That one has been welded like at least 3 times from what I can tell. So, like I don't know if this one is gonna hold very well because I can't tell where else it's cracked at. So, yeah, hope y'all like that though.